Good morning and welcome to the October 4th, 2018 Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting. If any member of the audience wishes to speak to an item on the agenda, there are speaker request forms to the left of the dais. Please fill out the request with the agenda number of the item you wish to speak to and hand it to the secretary. At this time, we would also like to ask that if any member of the audience has a cell phone or other electronic device, that you either turn it off or turn the ringer to silent. If you need to take a call, please step out to the hallway so the meeting is not disrupted. The public hearing on item number 1, the approval of the September 6th Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting minutes, is now open. All right, Karen made the motion to approve the meeting minutes. Is there a second? Second. Rachel seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2.
How about this?
Better.
This one? Oh, here we go. Item number 2 is a variance to allow an 18 square foot pedestrian sign in lieu of a maximum 8 square foot pedestrian sign on property located at 830 Main Street, and this is to be the location of the Mount Rushmore Society. Just for definition, a pedestrian sign are those that protrude perpendicular to a wall or extend outwards for the sake of allowing and directing pedestrian traffic along a sideway to potentially see an entrance or identify the use of a building. So with that, I'll show you some slides. The property shown in yellow is 830 Main Street. It is identified in the downtown designation of our future land use plan. This shows that Main Street is a principal arterial street. 9th Street, which is located along the west lot line of the property, is a commercial street, and as you can see, it dead ends at the end of this building. So north is to the right of this site plan, and this shows the property as it currently is designed. The sign in question would be located about in this location. This shows the front elevation of the building with the signage that says Mount Rushmore Society. It's a little faded, but this portion of the building is in the historic district, and it has met with that review and approval. Please note that the pedestrian-oriented sign is outside of the boundaries of that district and did not require their review. The pedestrian sign that we're speaking about is right here. It's kind of badge-shaped. It's a very attractive sign. It's one they currently have, and they're trying to use it. This would be the location of the sign on the side elevation. Looking at the front elevation of the building, that's Main Street to the right. This is looking north on 9th Street, and that sign would be about right in here. Looking east on Main Street, this is looking north on 9th Street. You can see it is a dead-end street. And this is across the street from the front elevation, just so you're oriented to where this is. So obviously the location of the sign has a minimal impact on the streets that are within this area. However, based on the criteria set forth for review, reasonable signage is being allowed per the sign code, and there is no unique or physical hardship that would preclude them from potentially attaching the sign flush with the face of the building, which would still allow them to use the existing sign. So since we could not identify that it met the criteria, we're bringing forward a recommendation to deny. You do have representatives in the audience today from the Rushmore Society that would like to speak to the item.
Thank you, Vicki. I do have a couple speaker request forms here. First one is from Jared Carta. If you could identify yourself as you come up.
Good morning. Jared Sard with Co-op Architecture. I am the architect on the project. I'm going to let Diana introduce herself too.
Okay.
I'm Diana Sadoff, Executive Director for the Mount Rushmore Society.
I think Vicki did a great job there of explaining where it would be at and stuff. And as she mentioned, I did want to clarify, yes, it is an existing sign that we're hoping to reuse. And, you know, if this doesn't go through, yes, there's a chance to flush mount that and use it that way too. But I think what we're looking at is, you know, I can let Diana explain a little bit too about some of their deliveries and stuff they have on that 9th Street. Some archives and stuff that they have back there that main, or that second entrance, I guess is what we're calling, would be, you know, from their deliveries, a lot of that. So just looking for some extra signage there to help with that. And it's not your everyday, yes, you get FedEx, UPS, but there's a lot of other people that are coming in, so they're not used to delivering there at that location every time. So coming down from the 9th Street, I guess we see as that being that perpendicular sign being a little more visible. You don't see, yes, a flush mount. I mean, you're coming that way, you're not going to see that. Turning, that's not the first thing you're going to see. You're going to have to get all the way to the end of 9th Street to see that. So existing sign that we're hoping to reuse the way it is. So.
Good morning. Again, we're very happy to be moving into that building as the Mount Rushmore Society, and the perpendicular sign to help with our deliveries, et cetera, I think would also help acclimate people to the fact that this is no longer a bar or a pizza place, that we're going to have some different functions there. But to be able to see it from Main Street at the stoplight, et cetera, I think would greatly help and would eliminate a lot of our delivery folks trying to come in the Main Street, you know, rather than around to the 9th Street side. And again, it is a sign that we had used previously in the community of Hill City. So we would just ask that we could repurpose that sign and be able to increase our visibility.
Thank you. We appreciate the comments. Are there any questions or comments from the commission on this item? Rachel?
Okay, so what are the approximate dimensions of this sign? I see it's 18 square feet in the...
Yeah, it was, it's 48 by, I think, 54 is the square dimensions, but it's going to be a little bit less than that because it's kind of that bat shape as she was talking about there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Karen?
Thank you. I guess I'm going to speak in favor of the staff report to deny. A couple of reasons. Number one, since the street is a one-way street, you'd have to get to the corner to really notice it, and I know that's what you are looking for. But I think all other places in town that have deliveries, eventually people will figure out where to deliver the products. And if you can put that sign flush, you'll still have the sign over the door so they'll know where to go. So I have a hard time making sure that this meets a variance request. You know, once you start allowing somebody to change something to meet what they want, then other people have the same feeling and they want to do it too. And it sort of sets a precedent. So I am going to vote to deny. Thanks.
Thanks, Karen. Further comments or questions from the commission? Justin?
Thanks. I think I'm going to, for the most part, agree with Karen on this, but I guess my couple thoughts are, I just want to confirm, you can still use the sign but flush mount it, because I get you have a nice sign, you want to reuse it, so I think that being able to use it helps. But then you can still put, if deliveries are really a concern, you can put a 4x8 sign perpendicular, that's allowed by code. That's still a pretty, I mean, it's a sheet of plywood, right? It's a pretty sizable sign. So I think that we can't set a precedence that all of a sudden these larger signs are allowed. But I guess it helps that you can still reuse the sign, because I get that it's a nice sign, you don't want to just throw it away. But then I think there's still an option if deliveries become an issue, you can still put a pretty sizable sign and meet the ordinance. I feel like, I get there's a cost and all that to it, but I think you have options, and that's why I think I'm gonna agree with Karen on agreeing with staff recommendation.
Just to clarify the size that's allowed, I think it's 8 square feet, not 4 by 8. So it'd be
Oh, I'm
2
doing
foot
the
by
math
4
wrong.
foot.
Yeah, well, okay, I did my math wrong. It's early. Okay,
Correct, Vicki?
yes, yes.
That is correct, thank you.
Still, okay, it's still a sign you can put up, I guess, but yeah. Thanks.
I don't have any other requests to speak. Is there a motion to be had?
I'll make a motion to deny.
Okay. Karen made the motion to deny the variance. Is there a second? Second. Justin seconded, Vince seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion further? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion to deny carries.
Mr. Chair, if I
Yes.
might add, we will certainly work with the applicants to ensure that they can reuse that sign on this building. As I mentioned in the presentation, it is a very attractive-looking sign. They are serving such a wonderful purpose as they promote Mount Rushmore and collect funds for its continued success. And we certainly want to work with them to ensure that they're being able to use that building to the utmost of their ability too. So again, we'll work with them in ensuring that they can reuse that sign.
Thank you, Vicki. I don't think we have any other items on the Zoning Board of Adjustment schedule today, so if I could get a motion to adjourn, that would be great.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, Rachel made the motion. Is there a second? Karen seconded the motion. All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We'll now commence the Rapid City Planning Commission meeting for October 4th, 2018. Again, if you wish to speak to an item on the agenda, please fill out a speaker request form and hand it to the staff along the left wall. And if you still have your cell phone on, please turn it to silent or turn it off. The consent calendar for today, items 1 through 4 have been placed on the consent calendar and may be approved as a group. Action will be taken on all consent items in accordance with staff's recommendation by a single vote. Any item may be removed from the consent calendar by any planning commissioner, staff member, or audience member for separate consideration at this time. The findings of this planning commission are recommendations to the City Council. The City Council will make the final decision with the exception of the following item. Item 4, 18 PD 028. The Rapid City Planning Commission's action on this item is final unless any party appeals that decision to the City Council. All appeals must be submitted in writing to the Department of Community Development by close of business on the 7th full calendar day before following action by the Planning Commission. Are there any items 1 through 4 that staff would like removed? Are there any items 1 through 4 that the Planning Commission would like removed? And are there any items 1 through 4 that any audience member would like removed? Look then for a motion to approve the consent calendar, items 1 through 4, in accordance with staff's recommendations. Okay, Rachel made the motion to approve items 1 through 4 in accordance with staff's recommendation. Was there a second? Mike seconded that motion. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item number 5 is a major amendment to a planned development to expand an existing bank located at 5430 Sheridan Lake Road. In particular, this is the First Security Bank located in the northeast corner of Sheridan Lake Road and Catherine Boulevard. And with that, I'd like to show you some slides. An aerial of the existing property. As a part of this expansion, they would be removing these 3 drive-through lanes, and they would then be expanding the building by approximately 2,500 square feet. The existing structure is about 2,000 square feet. It would remain a one-story structure. Shows that the future land use plan identifies the property as a mixed-use commercial. A bank would be an appropriate use within this designation. Both Sheridan Lake Road and Catherine Boulevard are identified as principal arterial streets on the city's major street plan. And this shows the expansion outlined in black and the removal of those 3 drive-through lanes. This is the landscape plan. It is a very attractive site currently, and they are proposing to continue with adding additional landscaping and enhancing the areas that are visible from those arterial streets. The elevation of the structure. The south elevation of the existing building, and I must say that they do have an artist's rendering of wheat at the front of the building that's solicited a lot of conversation over the years, and I just wanted to compliment them for that. That's the kind of thing that our ordinance doesn't require, but when we see businesses bring forward those features, it is certainly something that we encourage. The drive-throughs that are on the right side of the screen would be those that are removed, and this is looking at it from the other angle. The reason that this item is on non-consent is a requirement to provide a screening fence of 6 foot or higher and opaque in nature between a commercial property and a residential district. The properties to the east are zoned residential with existing homes. However, there is a drainage lot of great width between this property and the residences. There currently is about a 4-foot retaining wall that exists along that east lot line. But as we look into that drainage lot to the east, you can see there is significant foliage of great width that does provide a current buffer. So with that, we are recommending that the exception to waive the requirement to, for the screening fence be granted, and that the expansion as proposed be approved with the stipulations outlined in the staff report.
Thanks, Vicki. Any questions, comments on this one? I don't see any.
I move approval to.
It's all yours.
All right, Karen made the motion to approve item 5 with stipulations. And Mike seconded that motion. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. All right, item number 6, discussion items. Patsy?
I just want to let you know, we have scheduled a joint Planning Commission City Council meeting for October 24th. It's a Wednesday from 6:30 p.m. to 8 up in the 3rd floor West Conference Room. We've invited a couple members from the Sioux Falls Planning Department to come in and provide a presentation on how they operate their TIFs and do their reviews and those kinds of things, so that before we present the policy to you, you've got some background on how another community works through their process. And then also at that same time, we'll present some changes to the TIF policy that we've been proposing for a couple years now. So we encourage all of you to attend so that we can get all of the questions out and answered at the same time for all of you. Again, that's Wednesday, October 24th from 6:30 p.m. to 8 upstairs.
All right, sounds good. Anything else, Vicki? Maybe a question for you. Rachel was there as well at council on Monday, and the council tabled the ADU ordinance, and there was talk of a session for the council on that. Is that just for the council, or is it for the planning commission as well, I guess?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So there was definitely some confusion going into the meeting about what the content of the accessory dwelling unit ordinance would allow or wouldn't allow. And at the meeting, it became evident that with the first recommendation to continue, that it may be better at this time to actually set up a work session so we could have open and transparent conversation about what's in the ordinance today, where potentially some council members saw that there was failure within the language of the ordinance, and we could work together to come forward with a document that met with approval of the majority of those in attendance. Our intent is to also extend that invitation to Planning Commission, and there are a few individuals in the community that have been following this, and we will be inviting those interest groups as well, so that it is just a full roundtable discussion from all viewpoints, so that as this goes forward, we're considering all points of discussion.
That sounds great. Thank you. Any other items for us today? All right, I look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, Rachel made the motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, Mike seconded the motion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned.